Well, last Wednesday, Mono County filed litigation challenging the decision of the City of Los Angeles and its Department of Water and Power, LADWP, to dry out 6,400 acres of wetlands, meadows, and pastures in Long and Little Round valleys in order to, the press release notes, export additional water from California's Eastern Sierra. Now, the lands in question have been irrigated for more than 100 years and provide important habitat for wildlife, including the bi-state sage grouse, a California bird species of special concern, currently being considered for listing under the Endangered Species Act. Now, that news release from Mono County says the results of LADWP's devastating action are visible to anyone traveling along Highway 395 near Crowley Lake, and the scenic vistas cherished by visitors from Los Angeles and around the world could be forever altered. Thousands of acres of wetland and meadow habitat are already brown and dry, with wildfires raging around the state. The removal of water and encroachment, the news release says, of highly inflammable invasive plant species has state and county officials worried. Now, according to the Secretary of California Natural Resources Agency, John Laird, LADWP's actions in southern Mono County have significant consequences to wildlife by destroying wetlands and riparian areas and eliminating habitat for sensitive species such as the bi-state sage grouse, and also significantly increases the risk of wildfires which would threaten nearby communities. Now, Mono County's lawsuit alleges LADWP failed to comply with the requirements of CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act, and seeks a determination from the court that LADWP's decision and/or action to significantly reduce water deliveries to approximately 6,400 acres of land in Mono County modify more than 70 years of land management practices on those lands and thereby increase water export from Mono County, and the news release says is invalid and void and fails to satisfy the requirements of CEQA as well as CEQA guidelines. Now, CEQA requires public agencies such as LADWP to analyze and consider the potential environmental impacts of their actions prior to taking those actions. Now, Mono County's lawsuit further alleges that prior to approving the additional water export and changing its historic land management practices, LADWP did not conduct any environmental review under CEQA. Press release says, thus, neither the public nor decision makers were provided information regarding the potentially significant impacts that such actions may have on biological resources such as the bi-state sage grouse, visual and/or aesthetic resources, wetlands, and public safety. Now, at its August 7th meeting, the Mono County Board of Supervisors heard more than 3.5 hours of comment from residents of the Eastern Sierra, as well as visitors from Southern California, environmental groups, state and federal regulators, as well as ranchers whose livelihoods are threatened, all expressing concerns about the impact of LADWP's water reductions. Now, that news release notes the Mono Lake Committee, Sierra Club, Friends of the Inyo, Eastern Sierra Land Trust, and even an ex-LADWP employee cited concerns ranging from threats to the bi-state sage grouse, a California species of special concern, which relies on the wet meadows for successful brood rearing, to impacts on climate change resulting from meadow and wetlands loss from the intrusion of invasive plant species to an increased risk of catastrophic wildfire. Now, following the conclusion of public comment, the Mono County Board of Supervisors voted unanimously to initiate litigation. Now, said Supervisor Fred Stump, I'm disappointed in the city of Los Angeles, but our backs are against the wall. The environment is against the wall, the sage grouse is against the wall, and there's nothing else left to do, end quote. Now, litigation, that press release notes, was not the county's first choice, said Mono Supervisor Stacy Corliss. We are willing to compromise. We all recognize that climate change impacts have to be mitigated. What we're asking for is reasonable, and it's better for the ratepayers in LA, end quote. Stacy Corliss also noted that litigation and court-ordered environmental mitigation along the Owens River watershed have cost the LA ratepayers billions of dollars over the years. Good policy analysis is determined by the actions taken by public agencies and not the pretty words they put on their websites or in their publications. That's what Mono County Supervisor Board Chair Bob Gardner said. He said, "I hope that we see some corporate responsibility and good neighbor relations from the city of Los Angeles. Let's do the right thing now," Gardner said. Further information, maps of the affected areas, comment letters on the issue, and a copy of Mono County's petition of writ of mandate against the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. You can see Mono County's website, monocounty.ca.gov. And we'll note that last Thursday, the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power released a notice of preparation for an environmental impact report, marking the beginning of the environmental review process for the proposed Mono County Ranch Lease Renewal Project. Now, the study will assess the environmental impacts of a proposal to enter into new 20-year leases with 10 current lessees of approximately 28,000 acres of City of Los Angeles owned lands in the Long Valley area of Mono County. Past leases of these lands to the same operators have expired, and they are currently operating on holdover status. Now, that press release from LADWP says it continues to work closely with and implement recommendations from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, Bureau of Land Management, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, Mono County, local Audubon representatives, and the U.S. Geological Survey to ensure the health of the sage grouse habitat. All interested stakeholders encouraged to attend a public scoping meeting that will be held to solicit input from interested parties on the scope and content of the EIR. Meeting details will be provided to the public as soon as the date and locations are determined. The press release says LADWP will keep stakeholders and community members informed throughout this environmental review process. Well, Lone Pine area resident Jeremiah Joseph was arraigned last Thursday, Superior Court of California, County of Inyo, on a felony complaint charging 6 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of discharging a firearm at an occupied vehicle, 1 count of assault with a firearm, and 1 count of battery causing serious bodily injury. Now, the complaint, according to the news release from the Inyo County District Attorney's Office, also alleges special enhancement that the defendant was personally armed with a firearm during the commission of the offenses and that he discharged the firearm in the commission of those offenses. Jeremiah Joseph entered not guilty pleas to all charges, and the case was scheduled for a settlement conference for today and a preliminary examination August 29th. Bail set at $1 million with additional conditions that he participate in the Inyo County pretrial release services program should he be able to post bail. The incident involves an alleged shooting which took place the night of August 13th, in which a 9-year-old girl was shot on Isha Street in Lone Pine. The matter was initially investigated by the Inyo County Sheriff's Department, and that news release notes, as is usual in most criminal cases, the investigation is continuing, and if anyone has any information regarding the events, they are urged to contact the Inyo County District Attorney's Investigations Unit or the Inyo County Sheriff's Department. Inyo County DA reminds the public that a defendant in any criminal case is presumed to be innocent until the contrary is proved beyond reasonable doubt. Well, an Indiana man died on Middle Palisades Glacier over the weekend. News release from the Inyo County Sheriff's Office says that on Saturday, August 18th, Sheriff's Office was notified by Interagency Dispatch Center in Bishop of a deceased male subject on the northeast face of Middle Palisades Peak. The third-hand reporting party described the area as the Red Rock Route at approximately 12,900 feet in elevation. The male victim was hoisted from the scene by helicopter, flown to the Bishop Airport. Victim was turned over to the Inyo County Coroner's Office for further investigation. The identity of the victim and the cause of death is pending from the Inyo County Coroner's Office. We'll be back with more news.